welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we're teaching you how to play Jamaica. So we've already done a review for this game and I'll put a link to that in the description below and somewhere on the screen right now. So we're going to be teaching you in the most concise manner possible without giving you information overload. So ahoy mateys, let's set sail. So the object of the game is to be the player with the most points once at least one player has gone around the whole island and got back to the start finish line here at Port Royal. So to set up the game, each player will need to take their own coloured pirate deck and the same respective coloured pirate ship token and place it on the Port Royal space on the board. You'll also need to have the board that contains the 5 holds you've got on your ship. And each player will start with 3 doubloon or gold tokens and 3 food tokens in separate holds on their ship. You'll also need to place all the treasure tokens on the skull symbols on the board. You'll need access to the 2d6 and the combat dice and place them on their respective spaces. You'll then take 9 of the 12 treasure cards that come with the game and place them in the treasure box here. So each player starts the game with 3 cards in their hand. And the first player on each turn is going to be the player to roll the 2d6. And they've then got a choice to make with the dice they've rolled because they're going to be placing them on the morning space and the nighttime space. And that reflects what actions each player is going to be able to do because the morning action is in the top left hand corner of the card you choose and the nighttime action is in the top right hand corner. So player 1 here decides to put the number 6 in the morning space and the number 3 in the nighttime space. It's then up to each and every player to take one of the cards from their hand and discard them because they're going to be using that card to take actions on their turn. So once the navigation dice have been placed in the morning and night spaces, each player will simultaneously pick one of the cards from their hand to use as their actions on that turn. So let's just go the 3 cards in the purple Pirate Mary Read's hand and just illustrate what would happen if those cards were picked. So here the top left action will represent the morning dice. So this will generate 6 doubloon tokens, and anytime you take tokens as resources you need to then place them in any empty hold in your ship. However, if at any point all of the holds are currently being used, you'll need to pick one of those to remove and empty that hold to make way for the new resources. However, you can never remove the resource of the same type to do so. So we couldn't swap out these doubloons for the ones that we've just got. We would need to pick something else. And then once the morning action has been taken, you'll then refer to the symbol in the top right hand corner. And this will be the nighttime action. So here the player will take a further 3 gold tokens. And then this top card here is our movement actions. So as you'd imagine, green means go forward. So here the ship will go forward 6 spaces for the morning action and a further 3 spaces for the nighttime action. So player 1 opted to go for the move and then moves the more action. And so they'll take their pirate ship and move it forward that relevant number of spaces. So for the morning action, we're going forward 6. And at some points in the game, you'll have the opportunity to branch off to go around islands and pick up treasure and the like. So after the morning action, we've stopped in a port space. And that means that we've got to pay 5 gold. Else there'll be a shortage of resources and we're going to have to move backwards. So unfortunately, the 3 gold we start the game with is insufficient to pay the toll at that port. So what happens then is you'll pay whatever you can pay. So here are the 3 doubloons that we've got, and then move back to the first space that you're able to pay costs for. So here, thankfully, it's a space where there's a treasure token in. So once we've done that, we're able to then pick that treasure token up, taking it away from the board, but then drawing the top card of the treasure token deck. So you keep this identity of this card secret, but here we'll show that this is going to give us 5 points at the end of the game. So we'll then place that face down in front of us. So now we've done the morning action, we've then got the nighttime action, which is to move forward 3. And this is the point where we can illustrate that you can branch off either of these ways. But player 1 decides to go this way, and at this point is then going to stop on a space with 3 white squares. So as we've already learnt, there's a resource cost of doubloons when you stop at a port space, but these white squares represent the food you need to feed your crew when you stop on those spaces. So thankfully the player has got just enough tokens, 3 food tokens here, to pay that cost. And that then ends their turn because they've carried out their 2 actions. Players will then in turn order carry out their actions, with the morning action first, then the nighttime action, until all players have played. And at the end of each round, you'll then draw a card from the top of your deck to bring your hand size back up to 3 again. Once that's done, the first player will pass the first player token to the next player, and you'll skip ahead a few turns, and the red pirate has taken the lead by a little bit, and our purple pirate, Mary Read, does not like that one bit. So on her turn, she's decided to move forward 2 for her morning action. So she moves forward and enters a space with the red pirate ship. And any time you do that, you'll enter combat. So the player whose pirate ship has moved into a space with an opposing pirate is going to be the attacker. And to start combat, that player is going to decide whether they want to use any gunpowder tokens from their hold. They can use any amount they want, and the amount they use is the number that's going to be added to the final score. So here Mary Read decides to take 3 gunpowder tokens and then roll the combat dice and add that number to their total. So here Mary Read has got 7th strength in that attack, and then it's the defending pirates' decision whether to use any of their gunpowder they may or may not have in their hold to bolster their dice roll. So once they've done that, they'll roll and add, in this instance, 10 to however many gunpowder was used, but that's already, based on the dice roll, enough to succeed as the defender. So anytime you win a battle, be it as the attacker or the defender, you've got one of 3 choices. You can either take all of the resources from one hold of the losing pirate. You can give the opposing pirate a cursed treasure. So not all of these treasures cards are good. Some of them are cursed and will give you negatives throughout the game or at the end. So you can give that to your opponent. And lastly, you can randomly take one of your opponent's treasure. You don't skip ahead more or less to the end of the game at this point, because the red pirate is just about to get to the start-finish line here at the Port Royal space again. So at any turn when this takes place, all of the other players get to finish their turn, but then we go to endgame scoring. So sadly, the purple pirate never recovered from that lost battle against the red pirate, and the red pirate ended up finishing in first place. So to calculate your points total at the end of the game, you'll see there are numbers on the finishing spaces here. So in whatever space you finish in, you'll start with that many points. And if you're unfortunate, like the purple pirate Mary Read here, to finish behind the red line, you'll get -5 points to start your scoring. You'll then add those scores to any number of doubloon tokens that you've got in your holds and add 1 point for each of those. You'll then go through all of your treasure cards and apply any positive or negative modifiers from any cursed treasures you've got and add that total to your score. It's then the player with the most points that's the winner.
So that's how this game plays. Now it's up to you to get this to the table. For me, it's keg time.